Bang! Neeves Knives. I'm Jared, and today we're talking about some knives that are still impressing me. Some I've had for a while, some of them are fairly new. This is the WEI Beacon, and the WEI Beacon is a knife that I've just grown to like more and more and more and more. I think when I first got it, I liked it a lot. I did like it, but over time knives break in, and this one just got so smooth, so glassy smooth. And I did a comparison between, or a versus between this and the Subjugator. And I believe, if I don't remember correctly, I think the Subjugator wound up winning it. But I think all in all now, over time, I think I like this one a little bit more. I do still stand by what I said in that video. The Subjugator is more of a tougher knife, and it's probably a better work knife. But, just as a basic EDC knife, yeah, I really like this one. The action, super snappy. Good access to the lock bar, very smooth on the drop. The fuller works great. It's sharpened up really good. The grind was a little bit off from one side to the other on the heel, but not that big of a deal. And it's, what? This is one thing that I really like about it. It's a good looking knife. Regardless what color you have, it looks good in just about any EDC. You put this next to any EDC dump, it's a damn good looking knife. The next one is the Black Mirror by MAXACE. So the MAXACE Black Mirror, one that was so surprising to me. I was able to link it from Blade HQ. They immediately raised the price, which, it is what it is. However, I don't think it's a good idea on their part because there's other sites that you can get it for still the same price. But I believe, don't quote me, but it was like around $150, $160 or something like that for M390, a titanium frame lock, amazing access to the lock bar. Look at all that access for days. This is so smooth, very fun to fidget with. Great access to the reverse flicking hole. The plunge grind is like perfect. Like that's the type of plunge grind you want. You got plenty of life to sharpen off. You can get up nice and tight to the edge. The pinch grips are great. The reverse grip, it'll work. It's a great knife. The build quality's there, and the price is so good. But Blade HQ wound up raising it up to like $180 something. Like I said, though, I believe, I'm not sure. Maybe they made a mistake. Maybe they'll lower back down. I don't know. I'm going to do what I can to link everything from this video down in the description, but I can't promise anything. I do know the one other site, though, that does sell them for the better price. They take over a month to receive if you order it. But I did wind up giving one of these away because I liked them so much. So one of the patron members actually just won one of these. So congratulations to him. Awesome knife though. It's, it just continues to impress. I haven't had no issues with it, and it's just a knife that it slices really good. It's a good cutter. I love the access to the lock bar. The lockup is so snappy. Nice strong lockup, thick scales, and it feels good. It's a great knife. Next, now this one's a little bit of an older one. I've had this one for quite a while. I'm not even sure if you can buy it. And I'm going to talk about it really quick because I do have a full review on this knife if you want to watch a full review. We have a titanium milled pocket clip. My CORTA scales, it has this little glass window right there. This thing does light up or it's glow in the dark if you put a light on it. 154 CM blade steel with this beautiful satin finish that runs this direction instead of up and down. And it has good access to the lock bar. Very smooth, super snappy detents. That's one thing you got to give credit to the FINCH knives about. Their detents are on point. They're so snappy. You do not expect the action to be as good as it is on a knife like this. It's so good. Now, this knife reminds me of the JACKWOLF Knives Midnight Jack. I already had this knife and I loved this blade shape. This blade shape, like for doing utility cuts, you have so much leverage down into a utility cut when you're cutting a strap. It holds it right in place so you're not going to slip around the blade. When you're pushing forward or doing regular slicing cuts, it kind of traps the materials. This thing is so versatile. It is an absolute workhorse. I cannot express that enough. Now this one has somewhat of the same features in it, where same thing, the utility cuts are going to be fantastic. Nice good slicing, especially with this super, super deep hollow grind. This thing has a very deep hollow. So thin, it's like 8 thousandths behind the edge. And then the ergos, you can cut straps, utility cuts, push cuts, super versatile with the handle. I love the way the blade and the handle complement each other. And then because the blade is the way it is, look at how much it pops out. It is so easy to open up. I absolutely love that about this knife, how easy it is to just open right up and get right to action. I love it. And these two knives just remind me of each other so much. And yeah, I'm definitely in love with this blade shape on the Harvester and on the Midnight Jack. And I've grown to like them even more and more. And also, again, this knife is one that looks really good in any picture. You can drop this next to any EDC and it's gonna look good. So, and I could probably say the same thing about the Harvester too. Next, I've spoken about it a few times. You guys might be getting sick of it by now. I don't know, but I'm going to continue. The Giant Mouse Jutland. I did sharpen it with the members live sharpening. We did a freehand sharpening on this. The edge came out ridiculously sharp. It is super sticky, but this is one I can't get out of the pocket. Well, let me be clear. I actually just recently got a new knife that I can't get out of the pocket, but I can't tell you guys about it yet. However, this one, right after purchasing it, I swear it was in my pocket for probably a week straight. I kept gravitating towards it. Now, I'm not the biggest clip point fan, unless if it's a straight clip point, but the ones that have the trailing point, I'm usually not a huge fan. However, this one works great. It works amazing. I can still do utility cuts. The slicing performance is really good. The ergos are perfect in my hand. And then the fit, the finish, and the action makes it feel premium. It is a premium feeling knife. This is probably an unfailable knife. The detent and the flipper tab with the leverage you have, it's impossible to fail this knife. You would have to cheat in order to fail this knife. That was me cheating right there. What I'm doing is I'm pushing against the scale and then just kind of like tilting my finger to the thing, or to the flipper tab. But if you just grab the flipper tab and break the detent, even if you try to fail it, it's gonna kick. This thing has one of the best detents. I love it. And even though it's so good and so strong for the flipper tab, the reverse flick is just as good. And the thumb flick. So you have equal action. It's satisfying on all deployment methods, and it's also very smooth on the drop. Good access to the lock bar. I love the jimping they put on there, so it's really easy to disengage. It kind of grabs your finger back. The micarta is nice and soft. Feels really good in the hand, especially after a while, after you've kind of patina it a little bit, because then that softness, that furriness kind of goes away, which is where I'm at now. The LMAX felt good on the stone. Yeah, I can't stop carrying it. And also, speaking about that one, I gotta say, the Giant Mouse CORTA is another one. This came from the Going Gear EDC Club, the box, the Going Gear EDC Club box, the monthly subscription box. That's where this came from. And I believe Riat is the one making these. Again, the detent. I would think that the same company did these, even though they're both from the same company. This one's made in Italy. This one's made in China by Riat. Yet their detent, it's so consistent. It's the same detent. Just so snappy. Very smooth on the drop. But you can't fail it. You just can't. Beautiful grind. The ergos. Oh, it's so comfortable in the hand, even though it barely fits. It's kind of weird, right? It barely fits in my hand, but yet it's so comfortable. Yeah. The access to the lock bar is good again. Great traction. Very smooth on the drop. I technically can reverse flick it off of the spine, but a lot of people might not be able to do that. The wire clips on the giant mouses work really, really well. M390 steel. I haven't sharpened it yet, but Cora's been carrying the heck out of this. I've carried it quite a few times, and it just continues to impress me more and more. And then last one, we have the new KIZER Tauser K, the mini one. So this is the mini button lock version, and it has massively impressed me. Not only just the action and the way the detent is, it's such a clean break. You can't beat that detent on a button lock. The sound is good. Even the thumb flick or thumb roll is really, really good. The ergos melt in your hand, perfectly fitting in my hand. I can get tons of leverage, and if I really want to get leverage, they give you a little jimping right there to get up nice and tight to that edge for really bearing down. If I did need to do a reverse cut, I could totally do it kind of comfortably. I was going to say pretty comfortably, but kind of comfortably. I could definitely pull it off, but the pinch grips, the forward grips are all amazing. The fidget factor's 10. I did sharpen it. Oh yeah, by the way, 3V steel. I forgot to mention that, which is badass. I think Kaiser's doing a decent job with it. I haven't done a controlled test, so I hate saying that a company's doing a really good job without doing a controlled test. However, sharpened up really good on the stone. Mine is kind of rolled right now, my edge. But that was from the things I was doing with it, so I'm not going to blame it on anything else but just what I was using it on. And it's still extremely sharp. So even though I did roll it and then I stropped it out, I think it's done fairly well. It did take an incredibly sharp edge, but that doesn't mean that the heat treat's done well just because it took an incredible sharp edge. But I probably will do somewhat of a controlled test on it here pretty soon on their 3V. But yeah, they do have this in the regular size version because this is the mini, which is still a full size knife, by the way. But they have the regular size version, which is the full size Tauser K button lock, if you want one that's a little bit bigger. But in my opinion, this is a perfect size. But anyways, there you guys go. Just some knives that have continued to impress me more and more the longer I have them. Sometimes knives do that. Either one, you grow closer to them, or two, you grow away from them. And in this case, these ones, I've just, I've continued to like more and more the more I have them. I love you guys. Thank you guys for watching. Peace.